entire land just as the Lord had directed Moses.
Downtown we let it go. Sunset high and I'm ready to go. Blood rush in the haze glow. My hands to the bones.
Entire land just as the Lord had directed Moses, and he gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to their tribal divisions. Then the land had rest from war. List of defeated kings. These are the kings of the land whom the Israelites had defeated and whose territory they took over east of the Jordan, from the Arnon Gorge to Mount Hermon, including all the eastern side of the Arabah. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. He ruled from Arar on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, from the middle of the gorge to the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites. This included half of Gilead. He also ruled over the eastern Arabah from the Sea of Galilee to the Sea of Arabah, that is the Dead Sea, to Beth Jeshimoth, and then southward below the slopes of Pisgah. Then the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the last of the Rephites, who reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He ruled over Mount Hermon, Salakah, all of Bashan to the border of the people of Geshur and Makkah, and half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites conquered them, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave their land to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh to be their possession. Here is a list of the kings of the land that Joshua and the Israelites conquered on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which rises towards Seir. Joshua gave their lands as an inheritance to the tribes of Israel according to their tribal divisions. The lands included in the hill country, the western foothills, the Arabah, the mountain slopes, the wilderness, and the Negev. These were the lands of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebutis. These were the kings. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, near Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, the king of Gezer, Debir, the king of Debir, the king of Gedor, the king of Hormah, the king of Arad, the king of Libnah, the king of Adullam, the king of Makkedah, the king of Bethel, the king of Tapul, the king of Hepher, the king of Apek, the king of Bashan, the king of Medan, the king of Hazor, the king of Shemar-Meron, the king of Shapath, the king of Tanakh, the king of Megiddo, the king of Kadesh, the king of Jokneam and Carmel, the king of Dor in Nephath Dor, the king of Goim and Gilgal, the king of Tirzah, 31 kings in all. The land still to be taken. When Joshua had grown old, the Lord said to him, "You are now very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land that remains, all the region to the Philistines and the Gershites, from the Sihor River, from the east of the Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north, on all of it counted as Canaanite, through held by the 5 Philistine rulers in Gaza, Ashdod, Akshon, Gath, and Ekron. The territory of the Avites on the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Ara of the Sidonians as far as Aphek and the border of the Amorites, the area of Byblos, and all Lebanon to the east, from Baal-Gad below Mount Hermon to Lebo-Hamath. As for the inhabitants of the mountain regions from Lebanon to Mizroth, that is all vicinity, I myself will drive them up before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance as I have instructed you, and divide as inheritance among the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of the Manasseh." Division of the land east of the Jordan. The other half of the Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites, had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of the Jordan, as he, the servant of the Lord, had assigned it to them. It extended from Arar on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and included in the whole plateau of Medeba as far as Dibon, and all the towns of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon out to the border of the Ammonites. It also included Gilead, the territory of the people of Geshur and Makkah, and all of Hermon and all Bashan as far as Salekah, that is the whole kingdom of Og and Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He was the last of the Rephites. Moses had defeated them and had taken over their land. But the Israelites did not drive out the people of Geshur and Makkah, so they continue to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, and the food offerings presented to the Lord, the God of Israel, their inheritance he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben according to its clans: the territory from Or on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and the whole plateau past Medeba to Heshbon, and all its towns on the plateau, including Dibon, Bamoth, Baalbeth, Balmeon, Jahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiriam, Sebon, Jehirith, Shaharan, the hill in the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth, all the towns on the plateau, and the entire realm of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled at the Heshbon. Moses had defeated him, and the Midianite chiefs, Rekem, Zur, Hur, and Reb, princes allied with Sihon, who lived in that country. In addition to those slain in battle, the Israelites had put to the sword Balaam, son of Beor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Reubenites according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad according to its clans. The territory of Jazra, all the towns of Gilead, and half the Amorite country as far as Aror, near Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramoth Mizpah, and Betinoim, from Manaheim to the country of Debir, and in the valley Beth Ram, Beth Nimrah, Sukkoth, and Zaphon, with the rest of the realm of Sihon, king of Heshbon, the east side of the Jordan, the territory up to the end of the Sea of Galilee. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Gadites according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to the half-family of the descendants of Manasseh, according to its clans. The territory extending from Manaheim and including all of Bashan, the entire realm of Og, king of Bashan, all the settlements of Jair in Bashan, 60 towns, half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth and Edrei, royal cities of Og and Bashan. This was for the descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, the sons of Machir according to their clans. This is the inheritance of Moses had given when he was in the plains of Moab across the Jordan east of Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance as he promised them. Division of the land west of the Jordan. Now these are the areas the Israelites received as inheritance in the land of Canaan, where Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel allotted to them. Their inheritance were assigned by lot to the 9.5 tribes, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Moses had granted the 2.5 tribes their inheritance east of the Jordan, but had not granted the Levites an inheritance among the rest. For Joseph's descendants had become true tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. The Levites received no share of the land, but only towns to live in, with pasture lands for their flocks and herds. So the Israelites divided the land just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Allotment for Caleb. Now the people of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and the Caleb son of Jephunneh and Kezni, and said to him, You know what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, at Kadesh Barnea, about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore land, and I brought him back a report according to my convictions. But my fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. I forever followed the Lord my God wholeheartedly. So on that day Moses swore to me, The land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance, and that of your children forever, because you have followed the Lord your my God wholeheartedly. Now then, just as the Lord promised, he has kept me alive for 40 years since the time he said this to Moses, while Israel moved about in the wilderness. I am here today, 85 years old. I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I am still vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me that day. You yourself heard then that the Anakites were there, and their cities were large and fortified. But the Lord helping me, I will drive them out just as he said. Then Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as his inheritance. So Hebron has belonged to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Keznite, ever since, because he followed the Lord, the God of Israel, wholeheartedly. Hebron used to be called Kirith Arba, after Arba, who was the greatest man among the Anakites. Then the land had rest from war, allotment for Judah. The allotment for the tribe of Judah, according to its clan, extended down to the territory of Edom, to the desert of Zin, in the extreme south. Their southern boundary started from the bay at the southern end of the Dead Sea, crossed south of Scorpion Pass, continued on to Zin, and went over to the south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it ran past Hezron to Adar and curved around Jakarka. It then passed along to Asmon and joined the Wadi of Egypt, ending at the Mediterranean Sea. This is their southern boundary. The eastern boundary is the Dead Sea as far as the mouth of the Jordan. The northern boundary started from the Bay of the Sea at the mouth of Jordan, went up to the Beth Hogla, and continued north of Beth Arba to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. The boundary then went up to Debir from the valley of Achor, and turned north to Gilgal, which faces the pass of Aduman, south of the gorge. It continued along to the waters of En Shemesh, and came out at En Rogel. Then it came up the valley of Ben Hinnom, along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem. From there it climbed to the top of the hill west